about economics and economical policies. And after that, in second discussion panel, we will discuss well-being and some life choices that are ahead of students and graduates. So maybe first I will allow our guests to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Andrei Lukic. I come from the Romanian American University in Bucharest. I am a lecturer in the computer science for business management. I work in AI, and I also lead the Center for Research in AI at the university.
Morning, everyone. My name is Cetikasuma Ali from University of Teknologi Mara, Malaysia, and from Faculty of Business Management. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alessandro Figus. I am Italian, and I am a representative of Sarsen Monzolov University in Kazakhstan. I am expert about sport, and sport is business.
Hello, my name is Ivana Buturaceva-Šindleriova, and I am from Slovak University in Trnava, the University of San Cyril and Methodius, and the Faculty of Social Sciences, and I am let's say, an expert in strategic management decisions and innovating. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm very happy to have all of you here. And I would like to start maybe with a short discussion about what happened in Romania with presidential election that had to be repeated, and about the choices that sometimes people make based on their information that they get from the media, and how lack of understanding of very complicated issues, economical issues, lead to populists getting much more attention that they deserve, and how it's our responsibility to explain in detail complicated problems in democracy to make democracy work. So maybe my question will be, what is the way to protect democracy from populists winning by lying to the general population?
Thank you. Very easy question. Good start. I believe that what we went through in the past, I don't know, 6 to 8 months is probably a reflection of not just what happened now. It's more of a reflection of the last maybe 10, 15 years, when we as a society stopped putting any emphasis on critical thinking and on training people how to discern on complex topics. So I think that the responsibility that we have moving forward is to try to come back to more of a study program where we encourage people to think, we teach people how to assess information, we give them the skills to be able to digest complex topics and not just base all their opinions on something they see online after 5 seconds or 10 seconds videos, which is difficult because we also have the whole information thrown in our faces with all the automation going on and AI. But yeah, I think it's still in our responsibility to just get better at critical thinking. I don't know anything else that we could do, to be honest.
What about election?
Maybe your perspective from Asian country on this kind of situation.
On election perspective?
Yes, election and how people make choices.
Okay, in Malaysia, most of our population is youth. So the youth is how social media plays lots of roles. So like TikToks and Instagram. So how is they need to really find the influencer among the youth, actually to promote what they can do, to give some promise to among the voters, among the youth. So that's why I said social media is really help a lot in election process in Malaysia. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I have one small remark about social media, because we have the old media, we have TV, where some of the TV stations are biased towards one side, the other TV stations are biased towards the other side. Then we have social media with all the automation and algorithm that have different goals, and the question is, how do you navigate between this to find the truth and to be able to see the actual picture? Alessandro?
Social media.
Yeah.
I want to return. The question, the beginning was to Andrei about Romania election. But and you mentioned democracy. I don't know what is democracy. I know what is not democracy. Because European Union, for example, we are founder. In Italy, we are the sixth founder of European Union. What do you think about democracy? What is not democracy? Not democracy is Turkey. Erdogan is not democratic. But we discuss and we have open mind when you look Turkey. Turkey occupied Europe. Part of Cyprus is occupied by Turkey. Erdogan, not democracy, put in prison the opposition. This is not my democracy. About social media, in Romania, they put out the president candidate before. Now, Simeon not to win the election. Where is the falsification? The people vote for European Union, vote in different way. This is, I think, common word of social media of some country in European Union. We have not open mind. You told me, okay, but in Italy you have, or in Slovakia you have populism. What is populism? Populism is not Nazism, is not fascism. It's a different opinion. The people vote and the people decide.
Can I reply? I must say that I disagree, because populism, I see populism as politicians purposely lying and promising things that are impossible to win election. And after they win election, there are two ways. One, they deliver on their promises. And two, they actually realize that they overpromised and they don't deliver these promises. And I don't know which is worse, delivering promises that are harmful for the economy, or to lying about it and not delivering them afterwards. But this is populism. And we had the discussion with Andrei before about is it possible to give some punishment to politicians if they lie? Like, actually have verifiable lies during their campaign, something that is completely impossible. And is it possible to give them any kind of punishment, financial, or ban them from office? And we researched this topic, and in Wales, in United Kingdom, they are considering implementing law that will forbid or punish politicians from lying to the public. But until we don't have this kind of punishments, then this is exactly why populism will win, because you can overpromise, you can promise solutions to very complex problems that are not good. But then, and what worse, later you implement these solutions. Maybe
No, you don't mention. I mentioned Erdogan. What do you think about
Erdogan?
Erdogan and is democratic, because we have a lot of relationship, Polish with and Germany with Erdogan. What do you think is democratic?
This is another way of this is another way of crippling democracy. Okay, it's a crippled democracy. It's a democracy. They have election, but it's crippled democracy. Yes. Okay. Let me just give microphone to Ivana, because you also are a democracy. What's your perspective?
Well, from the first question, I completely agree with you. But the point is, you can show to the youth whatever, even through the social media. But the other point is, do they care? I mean, if I see something on I don't know, I don't have TikTok, but Instagram or Facebook. Actually, clearly, I look for the information about that, further information, because maybe I do not believe anything from the first point. But does it make me come to the elections and vote? Because if you see the attendance in Slovakia, there is a very low percentage of young people voting because they don't even go to elections, even if they have the information. So yeah, maybe it's about the popularity and everything, but the point is you must make people care and make them go to vote.
Did we have a question from students? Can I give you a microphone? Yeah.
I just wanted to say that it's the saddest thing is that people believe those promises. And even though Simeon, for example, said that he's not going to give that and he was just bluffing, people still voted. People were still indoctrinated that he's good and he's going to give them all of that. And it's just a lot of corruption from it. That's about that. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I have a comment to the social media discussion. So I think it's a twofold discussion, the way I'm looking at it. So first, it's okay to have it. And of course, if you just show people something, it doesn't necessarily mean it will promote any kind of action. But the second part is that when you do that in a systematic way, in a very targeted and objective way, you end up creating a propaganda machine that works on steroids. And I think that's the biggest issue, because you have this very large-scale, non-stop device that can be turned into a propaganda machine. And the message gets to people that might not necessarily be equipped to deal with the complexities of it. And we have an example now in our country where social media was good because it promoted people. It was used to promote people to go to vote, which would happen during the last elections. Everyone was using it to kind of make people go and vote, irrespective of their choice, but just to go and show up. But then you have the other side when it's used in spreading messages that kind of appeal to negative feelings, to right-wing policies, to nationalistic sentiments that might not be possible today and would mean destruction for the country. But people don't see them as something bad because they can't really comprehend what it would mean for the economy to go and implement XYZ policy, which is populist. And I think that's where the danger is, because we don't have a social base that is capable of dealing with the information and doing what you're saying. You're saying, okay, I don't believe it. But if they're exposed to it continuously, they do tend to believe it and they don't research it, because the skills of research are not that developed. I think that's when it's becoming a problem.
Can I go further with the problem? Because we just discussed that politicians can lie and can overpromise and can give us solution to some problems. But you mentioned also nationalistic approaches, and we also have now a trade war with tariffs that are extremely high. But on the other hand, the European Union was an idea of free trade and free movement of people, and I think that most of us will agree that it was very successful. And in Europe, we have many people moving from country to country to work. We have no taxes on goods traveling through borders. So we created a big market for our products. And the question is, now we have this nationalistic approaches with tariffs. And what are the solutions that are better? Like, what do you think is open world for trade and cooperation better than nationalistic, or maybe this idea of protecting individual markets by tariffs is better? Maybe Alessandro? Would you care to start?
The problem is turned to economy. I think to protect is not available today because we look, Trump started to protect and now come back because economy depends from the politics. The economy is independent. Economy is up to politics, up to every politics. Also Trump. Trump is the most important with the Xi Jinping, with I don't know, Putin, with others, but economy is up. In this case, we need to understand that we have a different vision, but the vision is not important because when we go for the final discussion, is the economy win through the politics. And economy influence the politics. Because also in the United States, that is democratic, or maybe no, I don't know, the economists influence the politics. In this case, you win the election when you have the money. This is the final. And social media also is influenced by politics. I have a good example in Italy, Berlusconi, that was a very important man, but a very fantasist with fantasy, create television and win the election only because create a television. After, in Europe, they copy-paste. And the last remarks, today in Europe, we have a problem in politics because the people are divided in two, in every country. In Italy, center, the left and the right. In also, and the difference between left and right is very small. And it's very difficult to create a coalition. We have a problem in Portugal, we have a problem in Germany, we have a problem in Spain. Different coalition because every country is divided. But economy is the winner.
Okay, Professor Jati, about the tariffs and about free trade, because Asia is very strong in production and in industry and in export, and it's very effective. How do you see the world where some countries start to protect their local markets?
Malaysia is a very small country, it's a fact. So we have to play safe. The tariff from US, so we have to go with China as well. So it's how we not to offend in any of the countries in the region, as well as those are big countries. So we have to make sure there's no tension, there's no conflict between those big countries. So we always not to say follow, but not to make sure there's no sensitive issues happen. So we also depend so much on US dollar. So China also want to be our good friend. The investors is most from China. So we have to really play safe on this. So our part on the economic sectors, we have to really make sure that our currency is good in conditions and internal politics is stable, and relationship with China and the rest of the world, other countries in Southeast Asia in the BRICS group is okay. So that's what we're playing now. So let's not make any wild statement to make the relationship between other countries worse, especially US. So that's why we have quite safe and we are quite quiet on this. Thank you.
You mentioned one very important word, stable, because the thing is that economics or different markets can adjust to situation. They can change, they can move flows, but it will take time. So we need this stability for changes to be slow. So because in revolutions, most of the poorest people suffer the most in revolutions because they don't have the economical resources to sustain very fast changes without work or without income. So we need stable economics. But the question is, maybe for Ivana, there are two ways right now, the left and the right, the Democrat or the Republican, or whatever you call it. Some want bigger country, bigger state, bigger spending, free healthcare, free education, and big guarantees from the country. And some countries want lower taxes, but paid healthcare, paid education, and the rich paying lower taxes. And so, what is there a middle way? What do you think should be the way forward? Transforming economy more towards bigger state and bigger welfare country, or towards more individual freedoms and less taxes?
Well, actually, whatever we talk about here, I think the historical concept and the cultural concept of thinking of the people from the Middle and even the Middle East Europe does not accept any of these. Because we as a human, we are the mentality set for take care of us, bring us some comfort in our lives. We don't want to, and it's not like me personally or you or whoever from us, but it's we as the group of people, the East, maybe the Middle East Europeans. We, let's say, expect that someone is going to take care of us. We cannot, I don't think we are able to get used to the model which is in the northern countries or in the Western countries, even the American model. I don't think people would survive that. I truly do not. And if there is a way to transformation, I don't think I will live in this period. I think it's the generation over to generation trend. And it depends if these generations will travel, for example, to the Western countries or to the world and see how it's going everywhere else. Because the knowledge is important to know how it's going, how do people live and what it brings, because everything has pros and contras, each economy style. You cannot say this is good or this is bad, because it's about, can you imagine living in such conditions? That's the point.
Short question. How much time or percentage of attention in Slovak media is for situation worldwide? Like, because in Poland, 90% of time in the media, we see our local field. And many people don't have the actual knowledge about what's happening in China, what's happening in the US, how their model is set up, and to learn from each other. Maybe some politicians travel, but probably not many. And if they do, I'm pretty confident they don't have full understanding of the models and how they work in other countries. But yes, the transformation goes from our experiences. In Poland, we had communism, we had central planned economy up until 1990s, then we had free market, and then we found our way towards our current position. But we learned from our experience, and this will take time, this will take generations to find our way, to build our model of economy where we live. And politicians probably act accordingly. But we are not disconnected from the rest of the world. And we should pay attention what happens somewhere else and learn from mistakes of others as well, not to make mistakes. And Italy, one of the old countries of European Union.
I want to talk about Italy. I want to talk about Kazakhstan. Because you say in Europe, we think that we are the center of the world. It's not true. It's finished. This idea. Because, for example, today, thanks to you and to this university, we invited from Malaysia. The perception from Kazakhstan of Europe or from Malaysia is different. Because in Europe, we think that we are in the center of the world. We was in the center of the world. Now, the center of the world is the economy. Where we have the money is the center of the world. Singapore, for example, is one of the rich countries. But if you ask to Italian or to Polish, they know anything about Singapore. Of course, you know, but the normal people, because in television, in social network, we not talk about Singapore, we not talk about, I don't know, a lot about China, about Malaysia. We have a confusion about Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan is the same. It's not true. Uzbekistan is different country. And the question is very, very, very important, your question. In social media, and in television, we talk all about Europe, in Europe. In Italy, we talk about Italy. In Poland, we talk about Poland. But the world is big. After the globalization time, Asia is more important than in the past, because China is developed, Malaysia is developed, Thailand is developed, but we're not talking in our media about this. And this is a very good question. We need to talk. We need to deliver information. And the new generation are not interested about politics. I don't know in Poland, but in Kazakhstan are not interesting, but also in Italy. We are interested about other things, not about politics. In this case, the question is very important. I think you need to develop this idea. Why in our television and in our social media, we talk a lot about local problem, and we have not any strategy, any policy, any vision about the world that is changing and is big. Imagine about South America or about Australia. We know anything.
Professor Jati?
In Malaysia, I think the exposure of our people on what's happening around the world is there. Everyone knows about tariff in US, about BRICS, about politics what happened in here and there. We know. We really in our television, social media is like, I wouldn't say it's like 100%, but I would say it's like 80%. They know what's happening around the world. We need to know this, is to benchmark, so that we can learn something what's happening in other countries. That's why social media, again, is this play roles. That's why, again, you said just now, younger people, they are not into politics. It's true. That's why we use social media as influencer to help them to understand what will be our future and what happened to the previous election. These people are really doing the promise or not. So they actually analyze what's going on, whether this leader should win in the next election. So the leader should play around with another things to make, to attract those people to elect him or her. So that's why I said, again, in our perspective, in our countries, the TV and media, they really expose what's happening around the world. So we know what's happening in Poland, in what other country before they fight with? Kazakhstan. We know that. I wouldn't say 100%, but at least 80% we know. Okay?
Okay, and Andrei, maybe I will ask you also about Moldova and Romania and emigration and immigration of people, how they find their ways from other countries to European Union and inside European Union, also based on opportunities that they have.
I think what we see in Romania is that we see that a lot of the youth is now used to go abroad and mainly study or work, depending on what they chose to do. However, some of them started to return. So post-COVID, some of the youth that went to study now are trying to get back and get jobs back home, especially in sectors like IT and engineering. At the same time, there is a shortage of people in the job market. I think we have about 150,000 vacant positions in the country. And what happens is that we get people from outside of the country to fill them. So we have people coming from Moldova, but we also have a lot of people coming from Southeast Asia to fill those positions. And it's becoming a trend now where companies are bringing more and more people from Asia. It's mainly India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam as well. So that's a big immigration that we are getting every year. Whilst our workforce, it's either idle or they don't want to fill those positions, or they started doing more entrepreneurial activities. And I think it's good in a way because it increases the diversity. We're kind of a homogeneous culture before this. But at the same time, I can understand that if you didn't have a background, so if you in the 2000s, for example, we had the big economic problem with huge inflation. And that was the moment when a lot of the population tried to go abroad and went to Italy, to Spain, to France. And they built a kind of economic life there, which means that they already have some starting points. So their children will probably start from +1, like what we were discussing earlier. So for them, it wouldn't make sense to come back necessarily. But if you are already in Romania and you don't start from zero, at the moment, economically, the country is providing a lot of opportunities for most of the domains and activities. So it does make sense not to go abroad. But most, I would go abroad to study. Like my example is one of these examples. I went abroad to study and then I came back 10 years later. And I found the country looking completely different. It was something that I did not expect, for the good side. So it's a difficult question.
Okay. In Poland, we also had, because of war in Ukraine, we also had a huge influx of people from Ukraine who came to Poland. They started working and they set up their lives here. But these are people from the similar culture, and they came here to work really hard, and they see their future here, and they got integrated, and they are a big plus to our economy. On the other hand, we have sometimes much bigger inflation from African countries as well, and it is an incredible problem. I don't know how to call it. It's a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge, because if you have too many, you cannot integrate them good or fast enough, and it creates all kinds of challenges. And but economically speaking, I think we need people more than we need robots. And right now, the robots are supposed to be a solution. But with all changes, I think people will be better. They are better than robots. On the other hand, Italy struggles a lot with this problem. And maybe you would like to share your perspective.
No, I wanted one remark from your discussion, but because we need to return, because we have some, the educational side, we have some responsibility of this situation in social media. For example, the approach to the history. In the book, in Italy, we have a discussion about this, about the books that we delivered to the secondary school or in the school before the university, also in the university. In Italy, we not study the history of Kazakhstan, the history of China, the history of Malaysia, and our students not know the history of Asia, not know the history of South America, not know the history of Australia. In this case, we don't know anything about this world. And when you study in Kazakhstan, for example, you not study the history of, in depth, the history of Roman Empire. We not study, for example, the history of South America. If you ask to the student in Kazakhstan, the student in Kazakhstan know anything about America, South America especially, Peru, Colombia, Argentina, no anything. This is a big problem. And I return to the first question when you ask, why in Poland, in social media, we not talk, we talk only about the local problem? Because our responsibility also. We know open mind to the student. We not know the history. I have a daughter that is in the university. For example, if I ask to the student from Maribor, they know that the history is connected with Romania. But which Romania? Cluj-Napoca and Timișoara and Maribor was in the same Hungary Empire, no? But maybe now we not talk about this. But the result of the history is the developing and process. And we don't know from Asia, we don't know Europe. For if you ask to Kazakhstan student, where is or some things about Italy, not know. Italy, Poland, no big difference. It's Europe. And this is a very big problem. We need to redesign our educational program.
I must mention about history because some of the students might think, why should I be interested in history? Well, the problem is that history repeats itself. It happens all over again. And some countries make the same mistakes in different time, especially when we talk about economics. When we have students that are 20 years old now, they didn't fully live through economical crisis of 2001, economical crisis in Asia in 97, economical crisis in 2008. Probably they also read from the books. They don't remember it from their own perspective. But if we talk about history, like Professor Alessandro said,
history of economy.
Yes, history of economics should show us what mistakes were made in the past, what solutions were, what were the solutions that were implemented, how did it work, and if we can understand the past, then maybe we will be able not to repeat the same mistakes in the future. Maybe, Professor, you will tell a little bit about the Asian crisis.
Okay. Asian crisis. Okay, before that, in our syllabus in Malaysia, history you need to pass. If you don't pass history paper, you cannot get full certificate. Although you are in technology, you are in science or social sciences, must pass. Where it's difficult for those who are sciences students. So they have to learn history about what happened before and also in an economics perspective. Because this is, you need to know those, what happened to our country before. Because before it's been colonized by British, by Portuguese, by Japanese, you know. So the history, they help them to know what's happened and to prepare what we're going to do next to our country. So during the Asian crisis last time, we do have problems in the employability. So we have to call back all our students who study abroad. That was 1997, I think, 1997. And we're not going to lend any money from, what is it called, that World Bank. No.
International World Bank.
We're not going to rent because there will be consequences after that happen. So we have to really taking care. We have to really careful when we make any decision, either in economics or politics. So that's why we are here now in our country. It's like, I would say in Muslim, Alhamdulillah, you know. So we are still in the stable. Although in politics, economy is in any angle, even tariff just now. So we're not going to give any statement or involve in any conflict in the countries. We know we are. We know who we are. We are just small countries. So we have to be very careful and really careful when we make in any decision. Okay? Thank you. Who next? You.
I think the point about history is really good. And unfortunately, at least in Romania, we do the same. We mostly talk about what happens inside the country. We talk about US. We talk about some things in the EU if they're major events. But we don't really, we talk about Ukraine and Russia now, but we don't really talk about anything outside of that very often. But there is something changing, which I noticed, and this is that people started to travel. And with the economic benefits, I don't know, economic, with their money, personal money and money available to spend, increasing yearly in a way. More people go abroad and travel, and more people, because of social media and internet and other apps, they see different places around the world, and they actually go there. And they go, even if they go for a holiday, they start to experience firsthand what it means to be living in Malaysia and Indonesia, and any other like more remote countries compared to us. And when they come back, they tell stories, and I can see a trend of discussion happening outside of the traditional media about these other events, which is good. But the unfortunate side is that it's somehow uninformed because it's based on each other's personal experiences. And there's not much thought put into the history of the country, the relationships of that country with their neighbors, or anything that will inform you about culture more than, oh, I've been there, I've seen them do this, and I liked it. What's your experience in the same country? And I think we should study history more. But more, what I've seen is, I think the issue we're having in our field as well is that we became so technical in most fields that we started to dissociate from history. And now everything is so abstract that you don't really see it through a historical lens anymore. And that's a shame, because we make a lot of mistakes. I mean, we are 35 years after the communism fell, and we were about to make a big mistake and go from pro-European and globalist and inviting and wanting to collaborate to closing our borders again. It's like we forgot 35 years.
Okay, and as we are coming to an end, I have one more question. We have in every country here, we have poor people, we have the middle class, and we have the extreme wealthy, okay? And the question is, because let me just say in Poland, what I observe, because of war in Ukraine, because of high energy prices, I see that the middle class, the middle part are struggling, and they have less money for investment, for spending, for developing their businesses. It's worse than it has been. Probably the poor, maybe it's a little bit more of that as well. And there is a group of rich, and I think that they didn't carry the burden enough. I think that they are better off than before COVID, after the last 5 years. I think that they didn't suffer as much as middle class or the poor. So this is the short summary of how I see the situation in Poland. How is it in your countries? Is it the ultra wealthy, the most wealthy people in America, for example? The ultra wealthy are much more wealthy than 5 years ago. What about your countries? Maybe short 2-minute summary. Is it also like this? Same or similar to this? I just short something.
Yeah, well, it's a similar situation to what you described. The stratification is maybe not that clear, but there is this 3 levels stratification. And pretty much the same thing happened after COVID. We see people that weren't earning that much stayed more or less on the same level, whilst inflation and everything else went up. So they're kind of now poorer than they were before. The middle class, they increased a little bit, but not to keep up with all the other changes. And then we have people that have a lot of income, and to be honest, I don't really know if they suffered or not, because anything is not done too public about that. But I suspect they are doing okay, and at least they are the same.
Okay, in our country, we divide them into 3. B40 is for the low income, I forgot the terms, and T20 is high income level people. So we have a different group, then we have a different strategies to help them. Okay, but in general, in Malaysia now is towards developed countries. Good things is good, but another thing is not good. There will be no more aid and help from those scholarship for our students. So in general, I would say our country is moving towards developed countries, is what I can say. Thank you.
Sandro?
Do you want a free market? Free market. Free market is rich and poor. Free market is rich and without a problem with the social problem, no social problem. If you look America, is free market. If you look Europe, it's a free market, but not all people are the same. Inside the country, if you want a free market, we have rich and poor. Now the level is highest than in the past because we have more free market. Or we want Soviet Union, not free market. In this case, we have other vision of the world. In Italy, we have also the difference between job and other job. If you have an idea, you go in free market, you will not stay in the university. In the university now, only the bad people. The best people go in the market, free market. My salary in Italy is, I don't know, full professor, 5,000 euros. But in the free market, you take my position, you take, I don't know, 20, 25, 30,000 euros.
Okay. I have another question, because you mentioned Russia. There are oligarchs there. Not free market economy, you have very wealthy people.
I don't mention Russia.
Okay.
I mentioned Soviet Union.
Okay. Soviet Union, you have oligarchs, you have very wealthy people, and you have also very poor people. America, you also have free market, different model.
No social.
You have very wealthy people, Bezos, Musk, etc., and you have very poor people as well. So the question is, how do you make up the rules in a country so that not the wealth doesn't go to ultra wealthy, but stays in the middle class, stays in the largest amount of people, because we have democracy. So technically, the majority votes. So technically, the majority should be the happiest. Yes. How do you set the field to make the majority wealthy and rich?
I put one example. If democracy and free market is more people in Termini station in Rome, I not like free market, because now if you look the station Termini in Rome or Central Station in Milan, we have more people around the station that are sleeping in the station. If this is democracy for you, for me, no. No, for you, an example, no, Ernest. Why? Because we have a lot of problems. If you go in the United States, of course, not in the center of Manhattan, in the Trump building, but if you go around New York, we have more people in the street. Why? Because it's free market, because we have not the social help for the people. I would like free market, but equilibrated by some policy with the social helping, not assistance. I don't want to assist the people. I want to deliver one thing. To deliver the things is only one solution. To deliver job to all. If we have not job, we have not democracy. My democracy is to have a job for all. So it's not common word, it's really a dream.
Okay, job is very expensive now with all the social taxes, income taxes, and all other taxes. Job is one of the most expensive things.
Actually, I truly believe this, as history shows and as the knowledge shows, the classification of the social economic classification of the groups of people has always been there and will always be there, because it's natural, like progress and development. The point is, I'm not really keen on that idea to give the work to all the people because we had it already and experienced it, and it didn't work that well as was expected. What I am convinced about is if you want to experience the other country, you can travel there, that's right, and you can talk about it, but still just the holiday. You can study there and talk about it, but it's still that you're a child studying somewhere, not taking care of yourself, truly. You have to work there, get in the system, know the social system, know the health system, know the employment system, your laws, your privileges and your competencies, and then you can say that I know the country because I have lived there and experienced it, and I can compare. If you cannot compare, you cannot know what's good or bad because it's just that you think it is. It's not the experience, right? So maybe the point is all of you who are here, the young people here, do not take traveling. I have traveled all my youth, really like 10 years, all the countries. The only I haven't been to is Kazakhstan, I think. And because I had the privilege to do so. And really comparing it with working somewhere, it's completely different. You don't know the country until you are really in the system of the country. That's the point.
Okay, so we will finish this part of discussion because in the next part we will discuss well-being and where to start working, where to start living, what country, what city, what environment, big city, small city. So we will move to that in our next part, and we will start at 12. Thank you very much. And we will continue now with the second part of our discussion panel. And as you already noticed, it goes as we go forward. The question come as we go. And we had a discussion before with Andrei about emigration and about where to start your future, where to start your life, because we, in European Union, we are fortunate enough to be able to emigrate to another country. And there are two things to consider. One, would you like to live in a big city, work in a big city, or would you like to live in a smaller city or a village and work remotely, or work 10 minutes from your home and do other things? Because now with internet, with international trade and services, and you can choose to do things, get paid, and live in completely different place, in a different country. So the first question will probably be, what is the best way for students to live a happy life? Will it be pursuit of money and career in a big city, or perhaps they can be happier fulfilling themselves in smaller cities? And and please let me allow to introduce two of our other guests. So please introduce yourself first.
Thank you, Roterna. So hi, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Madi Zainal from Berjaya University College, Malaysia. So I'm from Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism. Yep.
And I am Lilia Petriciuc from Ioan Creangă State Pedagogical University in Chișinău, Moldova. I belong to the Faculty of Sciences of Education, and at the same time, I am deeply involved in international relations and project management at my university.
And now back to the question.
Back to the question. Well, it's a challenging question, and at the same time, I would say it's very simple because it all depends on what everybody wishes for. If you are looking for a very bustling lifestyle, nightlife, etc., maybe you will opt for or choose living in a big city. If I were given the chance to turn back time, I would definitely not choose a capital city because of the waste of time that we experience on a daily basis. So traffic jams, long, endless queues, lots of noise pollution, all these elements put a lot of stress on ourselves. And at the end of the day, we discover that we are simply drained and lack the energy to do the great things we are capable of doing. Therefore, you will have to ponder carefully and decide for yourselves. Either you want to work in a small place, because indeed, as Professor Novak has mentioned, nowadays technology allows for everything. So you can be in a remote area and enjoy all the privileges and benefits of what modern times can offer. And again, if you want to be in the middle of friends, having fun in crowded places, your choice. But if you want to build on your skills, most certainly a remote area would do a better job for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, so from my point of view about the question just now, so for the students to get started for the career, and this is I would like to use the Malaysia context. Okay, so in Malaysia, our youngster, our new generation are focusing on after graduates, what's next. So they are looking for the job opportunity. All right. Some of the colleges, some of the universities are promising the job guarantee. Okay. And again, in Malaysia, we do have we are multiracial country. So we do have Malay, we do have Chinese, we got Indian. So every single culture, we do have some of the tradition, or in the people in the rural area, they got a very got some restrictions to allow their kids to go maybe in the big city with the criminals cases. So the parents quite worried about that. But for the student itself, they love to try it. They love to try it. Now in Malaysia, we do have like here in Europe like Uber. So this is the opportunity, or we call it a gig industry. So the students, after they graduate or maybe after finish the study, if they don't want to go with whatever that they learned before their field, so in easy money, so they will become a Grab rider. But again, for the big city, seem like Dr. like just now mentioned, if you love in the crowded, you love to be around with the crowded people, to have to get lots of opportunity in the job, so it will be in the big city. But for the small cities, it will be more. It will be good. I can say that, but maybe focus in a certain sector or certain industries, such as like agro-technology, agro-tech. They can become a very good farmer, because right now we having lots of technology in our agro. So it can have a pros and cons. So that's what I can highlight about it, Doctor. Yeah.
Alessandro, what about your perspective? Big city or smaller city?
The question is complex, not complicated, complex, because where you want to live depends where you have a job. Because if you have a job in the center of the city, you need to understand that it's connected with the transportation. Because if you live abroad, maybe you take 2 hours from abroad to the center of the city. In this case, transportation is very important. And I return. Are you rich or are you poor? If I am rich, I live in the center of the city, in the best place. I pay. I have big car. Security is another problem. Okay, I have money. I have also security. I have no money. And transportation is very important. To live in big city, you need to understand where is your job. And to live abroad now is difficult for people that don't have money. Because to live abroad, you need the transportation. In this case, you need a car. In Italy, it's different than Kazakhstan. In Italy, it's more easy because we have logistic. But only to finish, I explain. Local train cost 0, but local train don't go fast. 50 kilometers, 1 hour in Italy. In Kazakhstan, terrible because the distances are very big, and to go, I don't know, from Astana to Aktau, you need a flight. But only the rich pay the ticket, buy the ticket for the flight. The other can go by train or by auto stop. In Italy, you go from Rome to Milan in 2 hours and a half, but you pay 100 euro. Okay? But local train costs nothing, but you spend the same time. In 2 hours, you go from Rome to Milano, and maybe in 2 hours, you go 60 kilometers. This is the problem to return. Logistics, transportation, and money.
Actually, I might agree with everything what was said. I am an example of the mix of the all, because I was born in a small city and raised up in a small city, then traveled to school abroad, then traveled to school to New York, then studied in Prague, then studied in the capitals, and then came back home and working in a city 300 kilometers from home, part-time online, part-time at the place. And as for me, I must say the only and one decision that I made was based on my kids, because once you become a parent, everything of this changes. It's not about the job, it's not about what you want, it's not about nightlife, it's not about the accessibility of the cities, it's about what do you need for your kids, the safety, the school, the kindergarten, the area to play safe when you're at work in the afternoon. So that's what you maybe make decisions based on. That's the difference when you become a parent, which you will become one day. So maybe that changes the point of view on that.
Okay, so let me try to summarize. Students, after graduation, you have all the choice in the world. You can choose where you study. You can choose where you spend 1 semester or second semester. You can use Erasmus to travel. You can choose your universities. After you graduate, you can choose the city where you live and where you work. But after that comes a time where probably family is also important to help you with raising children, and you need security, and you need comfortable and safe environment where you live. So this is one other thing. But also when we discussed with Andrei outside, we discussed emigration and ideas where to start life in another country, for example. And we came with one conclusion that the first generation that emigrates to bigger city or more expensive city, to more expensive country with better wages, better opportunities, then the first generation has to be able to afford real estate, to buy a house, probably on mortgage, and pay for 30 years for it. Then the second generation probably will live with their parents, but when they will want to leave, they will not take their parents' house, they have to get their own. So the second generation, the children, they also have to take mortgage, and they will also have to work and spend 60% of their salary on this mortgage. So second generation also will not be comfortable in a big city or in an expensive country. The third generation, your grandchildren, will be very happy. Probably they will inherit the house of the grandfather and grandmother, and there will be the third generation will be the one who will be able to live comfortable and wealthy life in a big city or in a rich country, yes, with high prices of real estate. So do you see this? Now we have the problem in Europe with immigration. All the immigrants coming from other countries, when they come and start from zero, they are exactly this first generation. So do you have this kind of problems in Malaysia, for example, with people coming from other countries and starting from zero? How does it look like?
Okay, back in Malaysia, so this I can relate with all the Malaysian first. We also, some of our youngsters, some of the students, sometimes when they couldn't get any job opportunity in Malaysia, so they try another or second option, because we are the Southeast Asia, we close with Singapore. So Singapore currency is quite high compared to us. So many youngsters, all the new generation, they will go for Singapore, meaning like they just stay in Malaysia, okay? The state name is Johor, all right? Then they just commute daily. Every single day, just cross the border, settle down for 8 or 9 hours to do their jobs. Then after that, they coming back to Malaysia every day. So this is what we practice in Malaysia. Normally, the youngster in Malaysia, okay? But yes, we do have like from other country to come to Malaysia, or maybe start from scratch. Even though Malaysian go to another country, start from zero. We can say that it's good for them. Okay, it's good practice to try it, because of you can see lots of opportunity, right, in other people country, or maybe you can build your self development, career growth. Okay, but sometimes it will be difficult as well, because it's not easy to ensure that you are safe, like you are alone at the other people country. All right, it doesn't matter you are a European, come to Malaysia, or maybe Malaysia go to Europe country or any other country. So it's come to the topics about the safety and security. Okay, because you are alone at a people's place, you are not aware. Maybe at first year or maybe second years, you are not familiar with that area or with that country. But again, it can be demotivate the students, to try the new steps further to get or grab the opportunity from the other country. Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know of many cases like that of people coming to Moldova starting from scratch. But I think that these things are just beginning to happen because nowadays Moldova is importing cheap labor force from India, Bangladesh, and so forth. And I don't know what the perspectives might be. But there is another side of the story. People from the US coming for short terms like Fulbright or English language fellows that I know personally, and they fell in love with what Moldova can offer, and then they continue to come like volunteers, because they say that they have the highest level of safety in Moldova, that everything is okay, people are friendly, and so they come back. I have a friend like that. He's been coming back every 3 months for 9 weeks, for 2 years already. Like he goes to America to and fro all the time. And this is really impressive. I don't know how things could be for young people, but while thinking about the question, I just remembered one of my students telling me once, why should I go and look for something that is just a promise and not try my very best to be somebody at home, in the place where I should be? Maybe it could serve you as food for thought and take a decision in this regard. Because I wish I knew this thing much earlier in life, really. When I started my teaching career, I could have done it everywhere, and I could have probably achieved much more success in a smaller place. Because in bigger places like capital cities, for instance, there is always an ongoing hustle and bustle and a lot of struggle. This is something that I can say. I don't know if as young professionals, when starting from scratch, you are really endowed with all the capacities to face all the challenges that modern life imposes. This is the point. Thank you.
Alessandro, and if you were 20 years old, what would you do? Where would you start?
The problem is we have different problem, but the first, the problem of immigration is related to two things. One, the growth of the population. Because, for example, in Europe, we are very old and we have no growth. In Italy, we have less than one. We have the population is not increasing. In this case, we need if we think to grow the population. In this case, to have more children, or to have more immigration. Why you have immigration? Immigration is an old history. In the history, we have immigration every time. Immigration usually is from the south to the north, and every country has a south. And from the south, from the east, come. It's not possible to stop the immigration. This is maybe it's possible to regulate, but to stop the immigration is impossible. Why the people immigrate? Immigrate the people because we have not the normal condition to live in the country. For example, in Africa, we have a lot of resource, but the European take the resource for several years, French, English, Italian, from Holland, take resource, and African that they have a resource, not spend the resource for the country, but grow the population. The money is not enough to live, and of course they need to immigrate. To regulate the immigration is really difficult. Really difficult because this is in the history. We have a lot of immigration. The only solution is not a solution. In the past, we had a lot of limitation of immigration through the war. Unfortunately, this is the history. It's not because I like the war, but the war was some system to regulate. But everything depends from the economy. Of course, also the immigration depends from the economy. If we have not people, we have not job enough for all. The people immigrate. In Europe, we have no people to work.
Oh, well, to the point of the migration, I don't think Slovakia seems to be the final destination for the people coming in, as it probably, from my point of view, doesn't offer any of the interests these people seek. This means a job, a good salary, maybe some security, maybe some social support, whatever. And there are too many countries all around, very close, that offer much more. So, so that people do not stay because seeking, it might not be just social benefits, whatever benefit is bigger, you seek it, right? Because it's natural. As for me, I must clearly agree with my colleague, because once you want to settle something, once you want to set some future for you, the best environment is the one you know, the one you have been raised in. Once your schoolmate will become a doctor who will take care of your children, once your schoolmate will become, I don't know, a lawyer whose service you might need, but you know him. It's not like a strange environment for strangers who will not help you. So for me, after being like 12 years away from home, I came back and started my own business home. And it's like the best thing I could do. I really believe in that.
Okay, let's not forget that it's very difficult to move an old tree, and your parents and your grandparents are unable to be moved. Probably they will stay where they were raised, and they have families, they have friends. So this is not, the older generations don't travel, they don't move, they already have their roots. The only option that is for travel and to choose where you stay or where you work, temporarily or permanently, is when you're young. But I also agree that living in your hometown where you were raised and in your home country where you have support of your family, it makes raising your children much easier. You have always somebody to trust to take care of your loved ones when you have to go to work, when you get sick, when you have a business trip, whenever you have some requirement, you have somebody to help you. So this makes life much easier. And especially now when you have new technologies, you have AI, you have internet, you have possibilities to work remotely. After COVID, we learned that meetings don't have to happen face-to-face, they can happen online. So you can also work with people 200 kilometers from your hometown and go there once a week or twice a week. So this gives huge opportunities for young people these days. And I must say it's much more opportunities than before COVID as well. Like you mentioned, big city with a lot of opportunities, a lot of people, a lot of theaters and cinemas and nightlife. But at some point, the time comes when you want your family close to you and support of your others. So this makes it easy for us when we live in countries that are stable and when we don't have to emigrate. Alessandro mentioned countries where you are forced to emigrate in some way, yes, like African countries, for example. But also, I must say that it doesn't
from East also.
Yes, but it also doesn't have to be the case. I would argue that they have the same motivations as we just mentioned. They would be much better off staying in their countries, working in their countries, if they only had perspectives of job opportunities and safety in their country. They would be much better off in their culture with their friends around them. But still, somehow the world is set that it's much better off for them to take a journey through Mediterranean Sea and risk death to come to a camp and to come to another country where you don't actually have the right to legally work. Can immigrants, illegal immigrants in Italy work? They can't. They have to stay locked up in camps, or they walk around the streets, or
Everything is possible.
everything is possible, but nothing is.
Not only.
Okay, so let's now focus in not moving from one country to another, but where to search for job opportunities when you graduate.
The job opportunity depends from the competencies. If you have not, if you come in Italy and you are, or you come from, I don't know, Afghanistan to Kazakhstan, because it's another immigration. You have any competencies, any skills. What are you doing? You have only the opportunity for bad job. What is the good idea that a lot of time I listen from the stakeholder of the European Union, because it's not true that we send the best in Brussels. We not send the best. The best stay in Wall Street. In Brussels, we send the psychologist. And the problem is, you have the skills, but which skills? The problem is, you want to prepare people to come, in this case, future immigrant, to come in Europe. You need to prepare to have to deliver education in Africa, or I don't know, in Bangladesh, or in India, or in other countries. When come to Italy or to Poland, need to have skills, to have a capacity to find a job in relation with the skills and the competence. In this moment, the bad situation is what? The people that are, the immigration is not regulated. The people that come in Poland, or they have not any competencies. They have not any capacity. In this case, they stay in the street. Why? Because it's not possible to go to the company.
The illegal immigration, yes.
Illegal immigration is very simple. The more immigration is coming from Greece through Turkey, that thanks to the 3 million that we put, they immigrate from east. From the boat, with the boat, they come. They arrived, and we need selected. Almost of the immigrated are not illegal, are with some paper that we deliver, because in our own country they have not democracy, or are refugees. Almost are refugees. In this case, the refugees is possible to stay without. Immigration not regulate. What do we need to go? In Libya, they come in Italy, in this case in Europe, from Libya, Tunisia, but we have not a regulation there. Libya is a big market of immigration. They arrived, we selected refugees, not the refugees. We now come back, and this is a problem. And they have not skills and competences. What we are doing is a very complicated. This case is not complex. It's complicated problem.
Okay, so going back to skills and competences, because we have students in front of us, and they probably are searching for their future place on the labor market. What skills and competences, or a set of skills? Because if somebody has only one set of skills, probably he will be one of many. If somebody has a set of skills of 2 disciplines, probably they will be able to be exceptionally good in what they do. What do you think is the idea for students to excel on labor market and be better than the others, to find a better job or faster?
Okay. It's good to highlight about the skills and competency for the students. From my perspective, so first thing first, you need to see, or you need to look at into your sector, your field. because in Malaysia, in our education blueprint, okay, we are heading to 2030, Malaysia education blueprint, the Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Education Malaysia. So we are more focusing right now, we are more focusing on the skills. Okay, so instead of, we do have a higher institution like university, colleges, but we right now, the government emphasize on the TVETs, or as a technical and vocational institution. So whereby this is just open to all students. Okay, not only just a top scorer or maybe not well performing in high school. This one is more focused on. We've emphasized on their skills. Why? Example, because if you are taking or you enroll in hospitality and tourism, okay, so just example, not because I am from the Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism, okay, this is just example. Okay, so when you have two major and minor, or doesn't matter, maybe you are major in hospitality, your minor is tourism, actually it will be tagged along. Okay, so it will be teach you. After graduates, you can go for hotel, okay, or maybe you are talkative like our Professor Alessandro here. Okay, so maybe you want to become the tour operator, or maybe you want to become tour guide. You still in the same field, okay, So from my perspective, I would like to say that look at on your field, and skills and competency will bring you further. Why? Because it's not just only theories. Maybe you learn from the books, all the textbook from 500 pages, 1,000 pages, everything been stated. But that one, not every single year the book will be published. The book publication will be maybe 5 years, once in 5 years. So you can go through the theories. I'm not saying that you need to left behind the theories, but you need to make sure you able to have that kind of skills that you learn from the theories, and try to implement in yourself, and try to figure out what are the skills that you are more into it. Because of what right now the industry like Malaysia, we are focusing on the manufacturing, tourism sector. So this is all the industry that we can say that can boost the economy for the country as well. So it can be you can polish your skills in many ways. Instead of just listening online class or attending seminars and so on, you also can go for the short courses like maybe you want to become maybe you love to drink coffee and so on. Then you go for the barista academy, or maybe you go for the barista courses. Okay, even though you are doctor to be, you are scientist to be, professor to be, doesn't matter as long as you have a backup plan, meaning skills. Because I do believe next 10 years, next 15 years, we are looking for the skill space. Instead of you stand in front of the class, you become professor, you become researcher, you become journalist, but who wants to do all the skills job? So the skills very important. Again, look at into your area and your field, and focusing on which skills or competency that you need, or that maybe you think that I'm good at come out with a craft the cocktail, craft the mocktail. So you go into that field. So it can add on your skills, and yeah, I do believe you can survive in the industry.
Okay, in line with what has just been said, I would like to add that field knowledge is mandatory, but it's not enough as long as you are not flexible and open-minded, ready to unlearn, relearn, do, redo, etc. And I will cite my colleague here who mentioned before adaptability. Nowadays, with a fast-changing world we live in, it's a skill that everybody needs. Otherwise, there's a huge risk for you to get lost emotionally, mentally, and then maybe even physically. So it's a lot of hard work on building your personality. In keeping with the trends that describe our society. This is what I perceive as skills everybody should master. Some people may say that, well, but we can't really develop these as skills because some people say that they are innate features. Believe me, they are not, as long as you acknowledge that it's all inside of you. The world outside offers you opportunities. The only thing that you have to take advantage is choose to.
I just want to mention that I graduated and I have a master's in accountants. I never worked as an accountant for a day in my life. And after I graduated, probably for about 5 years, I worked jobs that didn't suit me. And after, when I was in my 30s, probably, or 28 years old, I first started doing things that I really enjoyed and liked, and I started to develop them. And I went forwards from that moment. So probably the best advice and idea that I would like to give following you talking about skills, I would say that doing practical training during your study and going to a certain business and learning a certain field of economics is a very good idea, because then after you graduate, you can go deeper. You will have more time to go deeper into things that you found interesting during your working during studies or practical training during studies. And this practical training doesn't have to be in your hometown. It doesn't have to be in your home country. It can be in other countries where you break language barriers, you break social barriers, and you learn to meet strangers, talk to strangers, and find yourselves in uncomfortable situations. And even if your language skills aren't perfect, like mine, you won't be afraid to speak, even in front of many people. Thank you. Alessandro, why don't you tell them what skills do you think they need most? Students.
The student need to follow their own idea. I don't give to my daughter what I want. She has a road. I help her, but for example, my daughter is 23-year-old and want to be a psychologist. Will be the 3 years finish. Now we have the other master, and this year will finish. And I help, but I know my wife, is psychologist, but I am. My wife is also professor. I am professor. I only give some indication. For example, please, not professor, because no money. I prefer that she is working in the free market and to have more opportunity. But it's not.
So you give advice.
I think she need to follow her mind, the opportunity we have. But I not want to sign the road for my wife and my daughter. No, every people need to follow their emotion, and I think will be better to be happy, because to work, when I work, I am happy. This work, football work, is another my job all my life about football. And now my daughter play tennis, but okay. But it's better when every people follow the emotion that you have, the idea that you have, without indication from the parents.
Do you have any questions? Not yet. I think we encourage everybody to ask questions. You as well.
Well, maybe I just would like to add something. For me, you can do two things regarding your skills or your future. The first is learn at least one worldwide language. That means whatever, English, Russian, German, Chinese, Japanese, whatever. At least one language will help you to succeed once you need it. And now you have time for that because you're young. You have no limits for that. You have time, you have will, you are willing to learn probably. And the other side is broaden your sight. That means do whatever. If your father builds a fence around the garden, help him because you learn something. If you can visit a debate afternoon with your friend who invites you, go with him and listen. If you can, have a part-time job, 2 hours at a charity, go there and take it. Of course, if you have time for that, and I believe you have, because everything's broaden your sight. You see things and you understand things and you learn. You don't have to read books. You might, but you don't have to. You have to experience everything and you get the knowledge, which helps you further. Once when you are employed or you set your own business, it definitely helps because you know more than the others. That's your very great pro. That's your very great benefit you have.
Only one remark for the student. You need to travel. You need to improve the knowledge about the foreign language. And I think you not need to travel only in Europe, but to understand that the world today is biggest and you need to travel to Asia and maybe with security, but you need to travel and to discover other culture, not only European, because we are very old culture and we need to discover new things.
Yes, so contact your international office and find opportunities outside of European Union. We had a question over there. The microphone.
It wasn't a question. I had something else that was told to me.
Let me just give you the microphone, okay?
With about skill set.
Hey, it's me again. Not going away. So I just wanted to add something about the skill building and all these wonderful ideas that you heard. When I started my PhD, I was very lucky to meet someone that was an emeritus professor in the department next door to where I had my office. And he was actually one of the people that discovered the field that I was researching. So that was really lucky to me because I always went to him and asked him, like, okay, how did you come up with this? Or how did you think about it? How did you discover something new? And the advice he gave me was that he likes to tinker. At the time, I didn't really understand what that meant. But I think one thing that you can do today, which was harder in the past, is tinkering. So if you think of a project, you have resources and tools, and you can just go ahead and play with them. And don't expect great things from the beginning. Just, go and try them out, play around with them, see where it takes you, and I keep going through this continuous cycle of tinkering with tools and technologies, which helps, and ideas as well.
Okay, thank you very much. And if there are no more questions, probably we will head to the end. There we go.
On a conclusive note, dear students, dear young people, nobody can promise you a life full of honey, milk and honey, and you will fall, you will stumble, you will fail, but give yourselves credit because you can do everything. This is what you have to start in life with. You can. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And we hope to see you, hear from you anytime in the future. And when you graduate, when you start your work, when you start your career, write us in 5, 10 years. How are you? We will be very happy to hear from you. Thank you.